Have you ever watched your net worth drop for no reason at all? No job loss, no crazy purchase. Nothing bad actually happened, and yet the number just goes down. If that's ever messed with your head, stick around, because by the end of this, you'll understand exactly why it happens and why it might be the most normal thing in investing. A guy named Ryan had been investing for years. Steady contributions, boring index funds, nothing fancy. One morning, he opens his account and sees the highest balance he's ever had, $600,000. He feels it in his chest, years of discipline finally showing up on a screen. A week later, he checks again, down 5%. No news, no crash. His job's fine. The companies he owns are still running just as well as they were 7 days ago. But it feels like something broke. Here's the strange part. Nothing did. Ryan made the same mistake almost every investor makes. He started treating his highest number as the new normal. The second his balance touched 600,000, his brain quietly decided that's where it should always sit. Anything below that started to feel like a loss, even though technically nothing was lost. This is where most people get it wrong, and it's worth slowing down on for a second. Your brain isn't built to think in long-term averages. It's built to notice change, and it treats a drop from a recent high almost the same way it treats an actual loss, even when your account is still up compared to where it started. That's not a character flaw. That's just how the human brain reacts to numbers going down. So if you've ever felt a little sick watching your balance dip after a great month, you're not overreacting. You're just running on wiring that was never designed for the stock market in the first place. But here's where things get interesting. That feeling, the one where a dip feels like failure, comes from a completely wrong mental picture of how investing actually works. Most people imagine the stock market like a staircase. One step up, then the next, always moving forward. But that's not what it looks like. It behaves more like a plane flying through turbulence on its way to a higher altitude. It climbs, it dips, it climbs again, and every dip feels scary in the moment, even though the plane is still heading up. And this isn't rare. This is the entire ride. Here's a number that might surprise you. Historically, the S&P 500 closes at an all-time high on roughly 7 out of every 100 trading days. That means about 93% of the time, your portfolio is sitting somewhere below its best moment ever. Let that sink in for a second. Being below your peak isn't the exception. It's basically the default setting. So how far below are we usually talking? Not as far as you'd think. The market is within about 5% of its record high. Another chunk of the time, it sits somewhere between 5 and 10% under. Those aren't crashes. Those are just Tuesdays. It's only when you get past a 10 or 20% drop that things start feeling heavy. And even then, most of those periods pass without turning into anything close to a real bear market. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Even a real bear market doesn't erase the progress you've already made. It just delays your next high for a while. The businesses you own don't stop working because the price on your screen went down. Their factories still run. Their employees still show up. Their customers still buy. The only thing that changed is what other investors are willing to pay for a piece of those businesses on any given day. But here's the trap. Our brains don't measure any of this in percentages. They measure it in dollars, and they measure it against the best day we ever had. Go back to Ryan. 3 years earlier, before that $600,000 high, his account sat at $350,000. So even after that 5% dip, he wasn't behind. He was still way ahead of where he started. But that's not what his gut told him. His gut only remembered the peak. This gets even trickier as your money grows. The percentage might stay the same, but the dollar swings get bigger. A 10% drop on $50,000 is $5,000 gone. A 10% drop on $1 million is $100,000 gone. Same math, completely different gut punch. Ryan eventually crossed $1 million. First time seeing 7 figures. Felt like the finish line. Then a routine pullback knocked him down to $950,000. His first instinct was panic. $50,000 just vanished in his mind. But zoom out. 5 years earlier, his account was worth $600,000. Even at $950,000, he was still $350,000 ahead of where he used to be. Nothing about his long-term plan had changed. Only his mood had. That's the real lesson here. If you only measure yourself against your highest ever number, you'll almost always feel like you're losing, even while you're winning. The better question isn't, am I at my peak? It's, am I further ahead than I was a few years ago? And am I still positioned to keep growing? Think about it this way. If you zoomed out on Ryan's entire journey, you wouldn't even notice most of these dips. You'd just see a line that generally climbs higher over time, with a bunch of small wobbles along the way that felt huge while he was living through them. That's the part a chart can never fully show you. It shows the destination, not what it actually felt like to sit through the ride. And this isn't just a Ryan problem. It's not just a stock market problem either. It shows up in your career, in relationships, in fitness, in basically anything that compounds over time. Progress almost never moves in a straight line. It moves in waves, and the people who stick around long enough to benefit are usually the ones who stopped expecting a straight line in the first place. Volatility isn't a glitch in the system. It's the toll you pay to earn real returns. You can't get the growth without accepting the turbulence that comes with it. Every investor who's ever built real wealth has had to sit through dips that felt uncomfortable in the moment and meaningless 5 years later. Here's another way to picture it. Imagine standing in your kitchen looking at your bank app. The number is lower than it was last month. Your first instinct is to assume you did something wrong. But nothing about your habits changed. You still saved the same amount. You still made the same smart choices. The only thing that moved was the price other people are willing to pay for what you already own. And that price bounces around a lot more than the value of the actual business underneath it. So, the next time your number drops and nothing bad actually happened, remember Ryan. Remember the plane still climbing through the rough air. You're not falling behind. You're just somewhere between your last high and your next one. And if you think about it long enough, that's actually good news. It means the dips you're feeling right now aren't proof that something's broken. They're just the toll booth on the way to a number you haven't hit yet. My name is Nathan, and I spend way too much time thinking about how to protect my net worth and grow it. Please show support for the channel and hit the subscribe button. It really helps, and it means a lot.